Hi, welcome to Caribou Country Lifestyle. My name is Cheryl. Today I'm going to be loading up some compost from my compost pile. This compost pile is an old pile that I can actually take compost from. And then over there is the new pile that my husband's working on. So look at that compost. It's absolutely lovely. Very nice, well rotted compost. And this is what I'm going to be using to top my beds, all my raised garden beds and my no-dig beds that I have down below the raised garden beds. And I'm going to be putting a couple of inches on the tops of the beds. Jamie also got me, I think there's 5 or 6 buckets of compost. We have a small composter that we have by our back door. And what we use that for is any compost, any peels, coffee grounds, that we have coming in from the kitchen during the winter. I will empty it into that bucket, and then come spring, fall, we empty that out as well. And he got about 5 or 6 5-gallon buckets of compost from that too that I'll be adding to this compost. So I have quite a bit of compost that I have access to, which is great. So once I get this filled, then we'll go take it over to my raised beds and start with those first. And we'll see how far we get. I actually remembered to charge my microphone this time. I keep forgetting that I have it because thanks to my brother-in-law, when I went out to Saskatchewan last summer, he helped me set it up. I could not figure it out, and he said the problem is that I needed to do an upgrade on the product that I had picked up. Of course, I would have never figured that out because I am not tech savvy and he is. So I was glad I took my microphone with me when I went out to visit my sister so that he could help me. So let's take this down. There's it was 5 buckets. I wasn't sure if it was 5 or 6. So there's 5 buckets of the compost. I'm gonna start on this bed. This is where I had my garlic, and then I had celeriac, some tomatoes. I ended up putting some radishes in at the last little bit. So we're going to add a layer of compost into here. This is such nice compost. This compost out of this pile, we have had this for a couple of years now. But this is just our chicken bedding, chicken manure, all of our grass clippings, leaves, plant debris, any compost that we don't give to our chickens. Like we don't give our chickens any onions, avocados, garlic, potato peels, coffee grounds. I put hair in our compost, like when I cut my husband's hair, or if I brush out my dog, that goes into the compost also. So there's still quite a bit of stuff that goes into the compost that we don't feed our chickens. And then what will happen is once it snows, which it should be, we're getting into the middle of November, so I'm expecting it to snow eventually. They're calling for snow for next weekend. So once it snows and the winter it goes through, in the spring, that snow will melt and it'll leach all those nutrients into my raised bed. And that's where the goodness begins and the growing season starts again, all over again. So, and I have a lot of compost, so I should have no problem being able to do all these beds. And then I'll get a rake here in here too and kind of level it out. So I'm probably looking at a wheelbarrow per bed because this is almost empty now. Just bring this right to the corners. Just kind of level it out. I'm pretty sure I added compost into this bed last year before I planted my garlic, which I did not add compost into that bed before I planted that garlic this year. So should have thought about that before I planted my garlic. I'm sure it'll be fine. Okay, so we will continue on. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The circular bed is 10. And then I'm gonna say that U-shaped bed is 3 more. So I have 13 beds to fill up top here. And then I have those the two 33-foot beds down below. And then the other one is around 31 feet long, and we'll be doing those as well. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 beds, and I'm about to do this one that I planted the garlic in, and I have an idea of how I can amend that bed. Because I've already planted the garlic in here, my thoughts are I have this bucket of compost. I'm just going to run it down the middle, kind of spread it out, and then when it snows and then it melts, it'll still leach into this bed, and it'll be like I had amended this bed as well. And with it being in a bucket, it's definitely easier to spread out than as if I was doing this with a shovel. And I'm able to get this whole bed done. Just have to spread this out, break up some of the clumps. And this is, again, this is the compost that we had in our composter near our basement door. And it still needs a little bit of finishing. I still see some like avocado peels that haven't totally composted down, but that's okay because it will. So the compost that I could use, I have pretty much depleted. Now I'm going to take a look and see what this other compost pile looks like. I'm not sure how he had this folded. I'm going to remove this plastic and I'll fold that up. So now this is this compost pile over here. Not quite as aged, but I think I could still use this one, and I think would be okay. It still looks pretty good. A little bit lighter, not quite as dark. I might have to ask my husband if we can use that and see if I get the green light to use this. I will go in the house and ask. I got the go-ahead from the boss of the compost, so we are going to start using it. He said as long as it looks good that I can use it, so I'm just going to get some of this stuff that I had falling down the side, get that up first. We put our compost onto these old sheets of plywood just so then I'm able to scoop the wood up or scoop the dirt up better, but sometimes I hit the wood because now it's deteriorating and I just have to be careful what I'm scooping up here. It's a little bit lighter, but he said as long as I'm not seeing that yellow from the chicken bedding, from the chicken coop, then I should be fine. And, I mean, it's going to sit and just keep decomposing in the bed as well. So, it looks pretty good. I mean, it's not quite as dark as this stuff, but it's still pretty good, I think. Let's see what we got. Oh, that's not much lighter than what I was digging up over here, so I think we'll be good. I still have 6 more beds in the raised bed garden area, and then those 3 long beds down below. So I'm gonna need a lot of compost. And good thing I got lots. I'm about to put compost around my asparagus in this bed here. You don't remove your asparagus from the bed. You actually let this just overwinter. And then if I want, I could come out here in the middle of winter, maybe in January, February, something like that. I could come out and cut this back. But for now, I just want to leave it in the ground, and I'm going to put my compost around the plants without flattening them down too much. So it's fairly easy to do. I just have to lift the plants up. Easy enough. Won't hurt them at all. I can put that right in between. Slide one right in the middle here. Pick these ones up, push them that way, and then pick these ones up and pull them this way and just plunk that right in the middle. And then I can just move it around as I need to with my hands. rest will just go on this side. This is actually going pretty fast. I only have these 2 short beds to do and my circular bed, and then I'll pretty much be finished. Now I'll just spread this around. Okay, so over here on this bed, I actually planted some lettuce. And I am just going to leave this lettuce in here. So this one here was the, prize head lettuce. I always forget when I want to first say it. And then I go to pull the tag out and then I remember. So this first bit is the prize head lettuce. Then this is romaine lettuce, and then that's arugula at the back there. And I am just going to do the same thing I did with my asparagus, but I am just going to put a little layer of compost around these plants, and I'm going to leave them for over the winter. See what happens. To where I see the green from the plants, I got a couple of little rugulas here. Let's go down each side, a little bit of compost. I'm not putting very much, I just want to do a light layer just around the plants. It won't be no 2 inches, be about 1 inch, but anywhere else I can put more on, and we'll just run it right up to the plants. And we'll see what happens in the spring. And I mean, I've got some heavy feeders in these beds. You have your tomatoes, peppers, any of the brassicas. I had, kale over in that bed. And I had kohlrabi in behind. So yeah, quite a bit of heavy feeders in a lot of these beds. This is my herb and perennial bed, and I still have parsley in here. This is my curled leaf parsley, and it is still doing amazing. So what I'm doing is I'm going to cut this out, and I am going to dehydrate this parsley because it is still good. And like I say, we've had some nights where we've gotten down to -6 Celsius, and this has not frozen over. So I am benefiting from having this parsley, and I will just dehydrate it in my dehydration. I have an Excalibur dehydrator, and I will just put it on the trays and dehydrate that. And this is no good. I'll just leave that in the ground. And then this here is my flat leaf parsley. And some of these are not as nice, so I'm going to be a little more choosy about what I pick as far as this goes, because I don't want any of the stuff that's turning yellow. This one looks good. It's off the ground. So I will pick that. And I will dehydrate this as well. Flat leaf parsley has a stronger flavor to it, and a lot of the cooks in restaurants will use a flat leaf parsley for that flavor. And I think I'll just cut out the rest of this and put it in my compost bucket. These little flower plants there, those are carnations, and they are perennials, so they will come back. I'm going to take these tags out before I bury them, because I reuse my tags too. These other tags, that's just for my Asiatic lilies, so I know where they are. I'm just going to move this compost around. Kind of a light layer, not as deep as what I did in my other beds, but any bit of compost in here will help for next year. Okay, so that's it for up here, and it is lunchtime. So I'm gonna go and grab myself some lunch. I also need to put a roast into my oven. A lot of times will put a frozen roast into my oven. It's like 1 o'clock, and by 5:36, it'll be perfectly cooked. And that's what we're having for dinner tonight. I have a beef roast in the freezer, and I'm gonna put that in the oven for dinner tonight. So we will come back after lunch and go down on the bottom part and finish off those beds down there. Okay, so what I've done so far is I have mounded up these beds and mounded up all the dirt, and then I tamped it down so it was kind of a flat surface on the top. So here I'm doing that with this bed here. I've mounded up the dirt, and now I'm just running the back of my rake to make this flat. Because I just want a flat surface. So then when I come along with my compost, I'm just going to shovel it right over the top and have it sit right on that flat surface. This bed here, this is the bed that I'm planning to do my sweet potatoes in. I haven't grown sweet potatoes in this bed yet. This year I did zucchini at this end. I had a couple of tomatoes, and then I did some spaghetti squash and the bonbon squash as well, and I had some sunflowers and that growing in here also. I'll just finish leveling this out. We'll grab a wheelbarrow full of compost, and I am just going to put a layer along the top and let that sit on top of the beds and let that rest for the winter. So I'm just going to do a thin layer of compost on top of this bed. You drop it right on top. It's nice and level now, so it doesn't fall down the sides. Well, on the most part, it doesn't fall on the sides. There's a couple of clumps that are just rolling off, being ornery. And this back bed here, this is the bed that I had my potatoes in. And it has never had brassicas in it, so I'll probably be planting brassicas in this back bed for next year. But I definitely want to do more cabbage, cauliflower, and broccoli. We've been eating a lot of that with being on this program. At least when I do these other 2 rows, I'm not going to be hitting the fence with my shovel handle. Okay, I'm on the last bed here. Getting a little tired, but we're almost done. And then I'll take you up and show you how much we've used. If I would have went into the house and Jamie would have said, "Oh no, you can't use that yet," I would have been, "Huh, really?" I barely got anything laid out here. Okay, I only got a little bit left. So I'll just use it up where I think there's some thin spots. I can just add to it. I got still a spoonful or a shovelful back there. Way at the beginning here, I still needed more. And there's another one over here. But I could just remove this option and just tamp this down. And that works just as good as smoothing it out. Come on this other side. Here you go. Finished product. Bed number 1. Bed number 2. And bed number 3. in the lower no-dig beds. And we'll just close the gate, go up here, and we'll take a look at these beds. Start over here. Complete, 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 complete. And these cattle panels that I have, I just leave them in here all winter long. They don't rust or anything, so it works out really well. And they're just held up with zap straps. Yes, we have to change the zap straps because the plastic ends up breaking down, but I mean, I can't remember the last time I changed the zap straps on these. I've changed them more on the orchard side where I have my berries and my fruit. So here, the garlic with some compost in between. This one is done. Things look absolutely lovely for the winter. My thyme, asparagus, the ladies, and then this is all done. I have this one with my leaving in my lettuce and my arugula. I left in this little lonely calendula, and then my kale there. Let's go check out the compost. Put my tools away, hung things up. Just had to show you my little signs that Jamie attached to my chicken coop. Let's go take a look. We're storing a friend's tent trailer here. Winterized our trailer. Also, Jamie put the roof up on it. So that's all done. So you look at where I started, right here, and then but look at how much we still have. Like, that's probably about 25 feet long of compost. And then you look at it from this way, and that's like 4 to 5 feet wide. That's a lot of compost. I had to take my toque off when I went in to go have my lunch because my head was just sweating. So hopefully my hair isn't too flat. I think it looks okay. Got everything done. I am super happy that the weather has held out for us to be able to get this done. It's just, I wasn't sure I was gonna get everything done that I wanted to get done, but we are supposed to be getting snow this next weekend. On both days they're calling for snow, so I'm so glad that I have got this done. Bring on the snow. I don't care at this point now that I've got all this done. I still have that one bucket of compost. I am just going to put it in my garden shed. Actually, no. I think I'm going to go put it around. I have 2 gooseberries and a red currant plants over there. And I think I'm just gonna shake it around those 3 little bushes, and then I will call it a day. Thank you so much for joining me today, watching how I was able to put my beds to rest for the winter, explain a few things on what I'm doing and how I'm going about my winterization of my garden. I'm not looking forward to winter. I never do look forward to winter. If I could go somewhere where I could be 3 seasons of the year, I would be happy. The only time I really like winter is for Christmas. I don't do a lot of winter sports. My jam is spring, summer, and fall. I love those seasons. I cannot even wrap my head around winter. That's a tough one for me. So thanks for joining me, and we'll talk again soon. Bye for now.